So let's give a big round of applause for Joshua.
Everyone has the ability to find purpose in their work. See, it doesn't matter how menial a role feels or how mundane a task seems. Every one of us has the capacity to derive purpose in our work. It's not reserved for Zappos employees and philanthropists. I want you to think back to the first day of the job that you have right now. If you were anything like me, you showed up early, you had your cup of coffee, you're going to take on the world, and then on day 500, you want to stab your coworker. If you're laughing, you thought it before. So what happened? Nobody shows up on the first day of work and goes, I can't wait to be mediocre. Of course not. Everyone starts their role from a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment, but it gets overshadowed by the day-to-day minutia. The unread emails, the Zoom meetings, the KPIs, the office politics. We lose sight of why we cared so much in the first place. I want to help you remember. Today I'm going to give you two of the most important tools to help you reclaim purpose in the work that you do and help those around you rediscover theirs. 20 years ago, I was offered a dream job. Someone came to me and goes, Joshua, how would you like to live in the mountains of Colorado for the summer? Go down extreme whitewater rapids and play guitar on the campfire for our guests. Well, that sounds awesome. It seems too good to be true. In the back of my mind, I figured I had about a 20% chance of waking up in a bathtub full of ice, missing a kidney. But at 20%, I liked my odds, so I accepted the job as a whitewater rafting guide. Still thinking, what's the catch? There was a catch. In fact, the catch was I would be living like it was the 1800s. My accommodations were 300 yards downriver from the main camp in an 8-foot by 4-foot tent. There was no running water, no power. I had to read at night by candlelight. My daily commute involved me having to walk across a one-person wide, handmade suspension bridge 40 feet above the Arkansas River. We ran a very modest operation, but we strived to create a memorable experience for every single one of our guests. I want to take you through what it's like to experience one of our trips as a guest. So the guests would arrive on the first night. They'd be shown to their tents, and the next morning, my battery-powered alarm clock is going off at 5:30. Now, I'll make my way to the kitchen, and I use that term very loosely because it's just an open-air pavilion, and I have to start the coffee. But with no power, there is no Mr. Coffee. Keurig hadn't been invented yet. You don't get to choose a pod. I had to fill up a large metal pot and set it on an open flame to start the coffee. And that's where we cooked all the food, over open flame, the bacon, the eggs, the pancakes. Well, eventually the guests would wake up, and they'd arrive, and they'd consume this delicious breakfast. Me and the other guys would clean up all of the dishes, and then we'd load the river gear into the trailers. By 8:15, we've loaded all the guests onto the bus, and we get to head to the put-in point on the river. This is where the real fun begins for me, because I get to explain the seriousness of this river to our guests. It starts like this. Out here, there is class 3, 4, and 5 whitewater. People get hurt and killed out here every year. I'm not trying to terrify you, but I want you to understand the severity of the river you're about to find yourself on. Now that I have their attention, we go over proper river safety and etiquette. And then after that, me and the other guides, we divide all the guests up among the different boats. Now, as the first-year river guide, do you think I was given all the athletic guests for my boat? I was not. Luckily today, I'm going to choose my crew. Right now, you, the audience, are enlisted in Joshua's boat. You're now part of my crew. So the first thing we have to learn is how to hold our paddle. So I want everybody to grab your paddle. Perfect. That's the shaft right there in the middle. On top, you're going to find a T-grip. You want to grab on top of the T-grip, not underneath it, because you lose leverage. We're going to practice all forward 1. Very good. All forward 2. All back 1. Great. Y'all might be my best crew yet. Now, we've got some great rapids this morning. We have Wake Up, Kamikaze, Boat Eater, Wall Slammer, Satan's Suckhole. It's going to be fun. But these rapids have obstacles. We need to maneuver the boat. So I'm going to split the boat into 2 sides. You are now the left side of the boat. Hello, left side of the boat. So if I say left side, grab your paddle. And I go left forward 1, left back 1. Perfect. You are now the right side of the boat. Hello, right side of the boat. Right side, grab your paddle. Right side forward 1, right back 1. Y'all look ready. Are you ready? Because here comes our first rapid. All right, everybody grab your paddle. All back 1, all forward 2, left forward 2, right back 1, left back 1, right back. Oh, whoa, whoa! We're on the rocks. A few of you have dropped your paddles. You see, this is a problem for me because every guest that falls out of my boat, I have to buy a 6-pack of beer for the other guides. Now, on a normal day, we'd finish out the afternoon on some great class 3, 4, and 5 whitewater. We'd get the guests back to camp, and then me and the other guides, we would make dinner. Now, the dinners that we provided were these beautiful multi-course meals, all cooked over open fire, including Dutch oven cobblers on top of coals. It was amazing. And at the end of dinner, me and the guides would clean up all the dishes, and we'd light a campfire for the guests. And they always needed entertainment. You see, there was no Bluetooth speakers 20 years ago. There was no Spotify. So they would say, Josh, go get your guitar and come play songs everybody knows around the campfire. And so until late into the evening, we'd be singing out songs that everybody knew. The guests would eventually go to bed, and I would go back to my tent to set my battery-powered alarm clock to go off at 5:30. And it would happen like this day after day after day. It was this new guest coming in, the same meals that we prepared, the same lame jokes, and the same sad, tired songs that I tried to belt out around the campfire. What had started out as the coolest job in the world had slowly eroded into a list of tasks to be completed and personalities to be managed. I had stopped caring about my work. I was physically present, but I was just going through the motions. Call it disengagement, call it quiet quitting, call it whatever you want. What had really happened is that I had lost purpose in my work. And one day, we were on the river, and one of my guests lost his paddle at the top of a rapid. And he erupted in this visceral frustration. So I took a moment to settle him down and tell him, look, our paddles float. It's all right. We can pick it up downriver after the rapids. And I realized what had just happened to my guest was exactly what was happening to me in my role. You see, when he lost his paddle, he felt powerless in the direction of the boat. He had no say in how we maneuvered the obstacles. I had lost my purpose, and I felt just as helpless. But just like that paddle, our sense of purpose can be reclaimed. In our lives, when we're facing challenges and obstacles and disengagement in our role, we have to remember ourselves to make that decision to grab our paddle. Now, the first tool that you can use to reclaim purpose and rise above that minutia is to manage your influences. We're constantly being influenced by the things in our life on a day-to-day basis. By show of hands, please be honest. Who here reads, watches, or listens to the news in the morning before work? Stop it. You laugh, you're like, no, Josh, I'm an adult. I can look at the news and it doesn't impact me. Are you sure? Because we know children are easily influenced. As the proud father of 3 young children, I'm weary of certain television shows and little Jimmy down the street because I know that they're bad influences. But somehow as adults, we're immune to that. Au contraire, mon frère. I would argue that as adults, we are just as susceptible, but we have 2 things that children don't have. We have the ability to rationalize doing things that are bad for us, and then we justify the results of those bad decisions. Now, if you're still skeptical, by show of hands, please show me who here has ever gotten into a disagreement with a loved one before work. If your hand's not up, you're a liar. Or you don't like answering surveys. How was the rest of your day? Not good. Right, everybody's cutting you off on the freeway. Somebody parked in your spot in the parking lot, but they're not assigned spots, but they know you park there. Yeah, and then Janet's waiting at my desk to show me pictures of her cat post-surgery. I'm not saying never look at the news. I'm saying what you take in psychologically at the beginning of the day primes the pump for how you perceive the rest of that day. Now, anybody that was still smuggling would be like, well, I don't look at the news. Let me ask this question. Who looks at social media in the morning before work? You should stop that too. You're like, no, Josh, I'm just looking at memes and grandkids. It still impacts us, and I'll prove it. 3 years ago, I walked into my office, and I was booting up my computer, and in that downtime, I opened up Facebook on my phone, and a friend of mine posted something infuriating. Fist-clenching, teeth-gritting anger surged through my body. And you're like, Josh, what did he say? I'm going to tell you because I'm part of this experience, okay? His status update said, and I quote, "I'm so excited, 2 hours till wheels up to Tahiti." I did what any of you would do, and it should have ended there. It should have ended when I spitefully hit like. No love, like. But it didn't, because the second my computer boots up, I'm on Google. How much are flights to Tahiti? What's the best time of year to go to Tahiti? Does anybody here know the best time of year to go to Tahiti? All year. And what should have impacted my day has taken over, because now it's closing in on lunchtime and I'm still out there. How much are those cabanas over the water? I'm not saying that never look at social media. I'm not saying never look at the news, but we need to be very cognizant of the things that are influencing us on a day-to-day basis. Now, the second tool that we can use is a move towards meaning. See, in our roles, it's easy for us to describe what our role is. What your role is an event planner or a speaker or a bureau agent. That's what your role is. It's easy to define. It sits on our LinkedIn profile. It's on our email signatures, but that's not compelling. We're also very good about talking about what somebody in our role does. It's all the tasks, functions, responsibilities behind our role. For you, it would be sending emails, negotiating with vendors, marketing events, booking speakers, and the general herding of cats that you have to do on a day-to-day basis. The problem is, that is not compelling to our deep desire for purpose. What we need to improve is our ability to see what doing a great job means to those that depend on us. Because the work you do has so much meaning, but it's easy to forget. As an event planner, when you do a great job, it means that the attendees of your event walk away engaged, enlightened, inspired. It means that they have a group of people that they get to meet and collaborate with that are facing the same challenges and frustrations that they are. It makes them realize that they're not alone. When you do a great job, what it really means is peace of mind to everyone involved in your event. See, the work you do has such deep meaning to everybody that depends on you. But it's easy to forget. It's okay to drop your paddle sometimes. It happens to all of us. But if you can remember to manage your influences and move towards meaning, it'll allow you to grab your paddle and have the ride of your life. Thank you very much.